Hey guys, welcome to the live show. Hey, seems like a lot of you guys are just popping in here. Um, yeah, maybe I should rename this live stream here. Let me just give this new stream a new name, and let's see, what can I call it? Live coding session. Let's see, coding session and career advice. Okay. Okay. All right, so this time the setup is going to look a little bit different. You'll notice that I have quite a few things open up on the screen, right? And hopefully this will be a little more entertaining as you guys can see the chat box that I am looking at right here, and it seems like it's scrolling as I'm scrolling. So I'm gonna be able to highlight some of these questions here. For example, this one right here by Neelash. Can you comment on your dev environment, laptop, desktop monitor preferences? Uh, Maybe later. I mean, it's just a very standard MacBook Pro, and I have a 4K monitor. That's pretty much it. Uh, I don't have a lot of like customizations in terms of getting my development environment to work perfectly. I can pretty much work either on my screen or in a coffee shop and on my laptop. That's that's kind of nice. I don't have too many customizations. Okay, let's see. Where am I gonna put this here? So, as some of you guys can probably see, uh, you notice that we have an Xcode editor in the back, and we have the simulator on the right here. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to show you guys how to build out some simple application on the top right corner, but maybe I'll go over what's inside of it first. That'll be a little bit more interesting. So the way I'm going to do that is to shrink myself down a little bit. Like that. And let's see, where's the simulator here? Okay. That. So live TV here is a little tricky. Okay, that's a little better. Okay, there we go. Okay, so someone's asking here. Wow, you guys are just popping in with so many questions, huh? So this is an interesting question here that I'll answer. How many hours do I work in a week? So spread out between the YouTube channel and contracting with 2 or 3 companies at the same time, it is very, very high. I would say I work about 10 to 12 hours a day, which is just all coding and all YouTube videos setup work. And then I have my website that has a bunch of courses that you can purchase. So trying to keep all of this up requires quite a bit of time. Um, some of you guys that are trying to get into the industry, just make sure you know what you're doing and make sure you know that you're getting into the engineering field that requires a lot of hours of work, which I think a lot of you guys might enjoy, in fact. Okay, so what do you use for screen recording? I guess I'll answer this question here. So there's this tool called Monosnap, which, yeah, Monosnap. It just allows you to record some area of your screen. So I have a 4K monitor, which means that I have four 1080p uh, rectangles on my screen that I can record at any time, which makes my whole setup very, very simple. And hopefully you guys can use that knowledge to your advantage. All right. Yeah. Huh. Wow. So many questions here. You guys are very, very curious people today. I guess let's kind of start off with today's video here. And basically, I wanted to do a quick live stream, and perhaps if I have some time to code, I'll do some coding as well. And I noticed a lot of you guys are, in fact, college, or not all of you guys, but many of you guys are currently in college studying some kind of engineering discipline. I think, right? And I was just wondering how many of you guys are interested in like career advice and what you should study as an engineer, what kind of um, what kind of company you should join as your very first job, and what you should expect as a junior developer. So these are all the questions that I kind of had when I was going to college and getting my degree. It was very difficult to find, answers to these questions. I think knowing what to expect as your like first project in a software company, no one really tells you what you'll be working on until you get there, which is a little, it's a little mysterious, and hopefully I can provide some answers to those questions. All right, so let me just click on the app here. I'm going to start off with the very first question that I've kind of prepared. And I have a question that says, how do I get a job as an iOS developer if I don't have any type of experience, right? And so the first question is, this is very common, and a lot of people ask me this question. And my answer to it is to sort of build it's kind of like going into any industry. If you don't have any experience, you're not going to get hired if the pool of candidates contains, a bunch of people that are experienced. So having a portfolio is super helpful. If you're some kind of art major and you're trying to get hired at some kind of studio that produces art, you need to show them what you've made in the past and your style of work. Same thing applies to becoming an engineer, especially in iOS engineering, because it's so visual that if you don't have a good, strong portfolio of apps, you're probably not going to get hired. And one very important thing about how you get a lot of stupid questions. Yeah, these questions aren't, they're not silly. It's just how it works. Yeah, so if you're preparing your portfolio, make sure to have your apps, make sure they work, make sure that they have a good design. If you don't know how to make proper UI decisions and UI design, go ahead and just hire some kind of UI person on some kind of freelance website, and then they'll make you a very good looking set of, screens, icons, buttons, and all that. So invest a little bit of money in that if you don't have good design, because if an employer is looking at your work and it sucks, right? It's really ugly. The workflow is just totally messed up. They don't want that style of work going into their product. So make sure you hire a designer to make your application look functional. And the other important thing is, so 99% of apps out in the App Store, they use list views, they use server API calls, and then some kind of data persistence layer. If you can demonstrate skills in those couple of areas, then you will succeed in most, interviews, I guess. All right, so let me pick a question from the chat here. So Mono Snap is awesome right here. Yeah, go ahead and use Mono Snap for those of you that are interested in recording your screen here. So how to build follower-following relationships in a Firebase database. So I'm going to release a course on more fine-tuned Firebase relations, and it's going to be on my website. So hopefully you guys will be able to, purchase the course and support the website and support this channel. So another question that's interesting here by Kudi Gopalan is, do I draw my own mockups for my apps? Basically, yes and no. If I'm designing my own applications, they look really, really ugly because most of my time is spent on the development side, and the efforts don't really show through in the design side. And this is kind of why I would recommend hiring a designer to do some of that work for you. Not only do they have a better eye for this type of thing, but if you don't like doing design like me sometimes, then go ahead and just hire someone. Okay, moving on to the next question here. So here's a question right here. How much money should you expect to get paid as an iOS developer, or just engineering in general, coming straight out of college? So I recently released that video on how much money I got paid as an iOS developer and sort of as a kind of general engineer. And you do make a lot of money, but the thing about iOS development is that it's sort of a niche area of focus. Because of that, you will find that there aren't as many jobs as Java development jobs. So the people that know iOS development really well, they get paid pretty well. And if you're just coming out of college, you're probably going to get paid, let me see, I would say like $60,000 to $90,000 a year in the California Bay Area. If you are curious about how much money you should be making at wherever you're living, then you can go on Indeed.com/salary. There's a little search query that you can search for how much money you should be making. So how about I do that right now? Let's see if I can pull that up here. Indeed.com/salary. Okay, senior iOS development. Okay, let me just go over here. Window capture. Okay, so now I have this website open up with Indeed.com/salary, and what you can see here is that the amount of money that you make as a senior iOS developer ranges in the $100,000 range, right? And if I just type in my area code, or say San Francisco, California, that range changes dramatically from 106,000 to 144,000. So that's in the San Francisco area. And you notice if I change this to something like San Diego in California, the range kind of goes back down to 107. So based on wherever you're living, these numbers are typically pretty accurate. So if I type in a zip code of 94080, that's what you get. So senior as a developer is probably a better term to search for. Right, so as you can see, if you change the search query with whatever keywords inside of the what box, the range kind of goes from 154 to 173. So this is for a senior iOS developer. If you take off the senior, you notice that the range falls back down here. So a lot of this data is kind of clumped in with the senior data. So let me see if I can get the junior to show up here. Okay. All right, and that's kind of the value that you get. So $92,000 for a junior iOS developer. Um, and I think that's pretty accurate in terms of the San Francisco area. So let's say Sunnyvale, California. That's closer to the Google campus. And that feels like the right value there. All right, so let's go back to the chat here. Da, da, da. Yeah. Okay. All right, so where am I at on the chat? All right, Fawaz Al Rashid. So I just want to say thank you for all these videos and training. You deserve far more beyond just a support by us with the little words or subs and likes. Yeah, I mean, subs, likes, just a bunch of you guys watching is plenty of support. And for those of you that want to purchase the course on the website, you guys can go to the website and purchase the course. You know, it's just basic training for now, and hopefully you guys will get a lot more out of the basic training. So let me just pull that up here again. Where are you? Let's see, videos. There. I think I should be showing up soon. Yeah. Sorry guys for some of these little moments of nothing happening. Trying to focus on doing something here. And it looks like my website isn't going to process while I'm casting this. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so let me just bring back up the chat here. Okay, shout out from India. Hey, I know I do get a lot of people from India. Jorge, let's see, George, Jorge, I guess that's pronounced, Casariego. I believe you, I think I saw your purchase on the website yesterday. So thank you for being a loyal subscriber to the channel and a supporter on the of the website. All right, so another question here. Let's see, how do I shrink this guy down? Where are you? A lot of stuff to manage on a live stream, huh? So where do you get good designers? I think Fiverr is a pretty good website. This guy right here. Okay. So quickly, how's the stream going? I recently turned it up to 1080p, so hopefully the quality is a little bit better. I think so. I know the audio stream and the video it's not fully synced up, but that's just the internet not being able to send the data fast enough. Ba, 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 ba. Okay, are most of my subscribers based in San Francisco? I'd assume a lot are from Asia and Europe. So I think the big user base that I have on YouTube is California. That's the biggest. That location itself has the most views, and then I believe the second city is New York, and then followed by I think either Seattle or somewhere in Texas. And then outside of the United States, I have a lot of viewers from India. Um, and then there's India, and then there's a lot of folks in Taiwan and Korea, some folks in Hong Kong and Japan, a lot of people in Singapore, and then we have viewers from the Russia, and a lot of people that purchase the course online are also outside of the U.S. So we have people from Canada as well, and also just everywhere. So the good thing about being on YouTube is that it's such a good search engine that anyone that wants to learn a specific skill, especially iOS, you can just search on the Google search engine, and it just pops up. So a very good marketing tool for those of you guys that are looking to, generate some extra money. It's very helpful to have YouTube available. All right. So next question here, before I kind of get lost inside of the chat, what is the best way to learn Swift development? And it says, you can buy my course and watch my videos. Duh. So I guess on a more serious note, if you want to learn Swift development, the best thing to do is to kind of just start coding and find a project that you're interested in building. I know the very first app I built dealt with Yelp restaurant searching. So being able to build out a list view with all of those search queries and just typing in, in San Francisco, I want to search for sushi. So just type in that and then render the response that comes back into the list, and then go from there, build out a map, and then you try to place annotations on a map, and then you get your application. If you are trying to study, if you're trying to learn, so here's the thing that I'm kind of passionate about, and that's the education system. If you follow the traditional, I guess what I call the kind of failed way of teaching, where you have a book and then you read the thing inside the book, then you try to replicate what the book tells you, you'll notice that that process is pretty slow, and you kind of lose your passion if you do it that way. I think learning really comes from doing something because you're inspired to do it and you have the intuition of kind of figuring out how the system works. So that's kind of my tip on everything. As you can see on this little answer sheet here, I don't have one single iOS book. The only book I have on development is this old I think it was this old .NET book that I only opened like one or two times. And I think I have this ActionScript Flex book that I read on a plane one time, and then ever since then, like 8 years ago, I never purchased one single book. And the book industry probably hates me for it, but those books, those big thick red books where it says, oh, learn C#, learn .NET, learn Java, I don't think those are really helpful. And because the thing is, it's like you're looking at a dictionary, right? This whole thing is just a glossary of the entire language. If you imagine yourself trying to study English, and if you're thinking, oh, I might just look at the dictionary to learn English, that's not how it works. You learn a bunch of words, but there's no context, so the learning process doesn't fire in the brain. So try to avoid these massive books because they're not that helpful. I think it's just a waste of time. If you do want to buy a book, you should buy from sites like Ray Wenderlich and buy from them. They have really good books. Oh, so France is listening. Remy Brown. Bonjour. That's the only piece of French that I know. Watching from Singapore. Hello, Jerome Chan. United Kingdom, but not in any creepy way. New York City or New York. Alexander Key, check out the stream tomorrow. All right, I guess I'll see you in the future. You've got Jorge watching from Paraguay. That's how we pronounce it, probably incorrectly. And we have Kareem James. Looks great. Thanks, Kareem. I think I saw your purchase of the basic training course the other day. So thank you for the support there. Hope you learn a little bit on how to use table views, collection views, a little bit on the Swift language, optionals, how to unwrap them, a little basic about for loops. And if you have any questions about any of those videos, there's that comment section to start leaving questions. And I'm not answering them right now because I haven't written the code to properly do replies. So if you have questions up there, I'll make sure to answer them probably next week. Okay. So it says, let's see who we got here. Abeliza Yilifan. Shout out from Montreal. Hey, I was in Montreal last year. It's an amazing, amazing city. Was that in Montreal? I was in Quebec. Quebec City? Was that? No, I wasn't in Quebec. No, I was in Montreal. Yeah. Just yeah, I would go back there. Definitely want to go back there this year or later next year. It's such a cool city. Stockholm. All right. Looks good, but the text is small. Let me see. How can I blow this guy up here? Can I do that? Hopefully that's a little better. Da, 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 da. All right. Do you think socket programming is still relevant to develop apps? Socket programming is kind of how Firebase works, right? There's a open socket connection that allows a data transfer between you and the server, and this socket is pretty much never closed until you close it. So yeah, Firebase is a pretty cool piece of technology, and if you want to use socket programming, then you should definitely try to optimize your sockets. Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan. Hello from Kazakhstan. Huh? All right. Is there a way I can still download the STC bundle? I don't know what the STC bundle is. Vignesh, if you are not handling HTTP calls, you would need sockets. Yeah, so if you're building out a chat application, that is, a chat application is really, it's real time, right? And HTTP calls can't support really well this real time piece of technology. All right, we got Natakarn Osborne. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. So thank you for purchasing that course, Natakarn. I really hope you enjoy it and hope you learn how to, kind of understand the basics of Swift and iOS programming. Yeah, if you have any questions, please make sure to leave them either on my channel or on those videos themselves. As you can see on my channel, I'm pretty responsive. So yeah, you can find me pretty much anywhere. All right. So there are a lot of CocoaPods with URL loading libraries. All right. So next question here, we have how much time you spend to be a pro iOS developer. Now this is a pretty common question as well. And the common response that I give is imagine any skill that you have that you're really good at, right? So for example, if you enjoy cooking, if you enjoy playing basketball, if you enjoy, putting things together, like, building things, right? How many years of experience did it take for you to be good at that particular skill? If you're really good at cooking, you probably spent years and years and years, cooking actual dishes that you eat. If you want to be good at iOS development, you need to spend years and years and years dealing with iOS development and coding and building out apps. If you don't spend that time, you're not going to be good at it. That's the best answer I can give you. So Mean Bean, I use storyboards, but I appreciate your videos because it allows me to understand the back end. Yeah, I can't. right? So there's that video that I put up about why I don't use storyboards, right? And storyboards is a really, really good tool, and it's a little unfortunate that I can't provide for the storyboard viewers on the channel because storyboarding is really helpful, especially during the learning process. And if I had enough time, I would do both storyboard tutorials and programmatic tutorials, but it's difficult because I'm just one guy. And also recording the storyboard and clicking through all those little widgets, it's really, really hard. I've noticed on the other channels where they do use storyboards, they kind of switch from one file to the other file, and then they click this thing with the margins and auto layout, and it gets like really confusing. So that's kind of why it's hard to record with storyboards. Again, I apologize for not being able to serve all of you guys properly. I think storyboard is a really good tool. Okay, can you start doing Android apps as well? There's no one on YouTube that teaches like you. I'm a beginner and I would really like to follow you. Oh, if all of you guys gave me like $10, everyone in this channel and everyone out there donated $10 to me, I would be able to have so much time to work on developing an Android channel as well. I really enjoy building Android apps along with iOS apps. And the one thing that I really like about it is when you notice how inefficient some of the things that you do in iOS, like how silly and stupid setting up auto layout is in iOS, you see the difference between how easy it is to do it in Android. You start to think to yourself, why did Apple make this system so difficult? And some of the things in Android that is ridiculous too, like how you have to type out this huge ginormous file just to do one simple thing. In iOS, probably takes like a couple of lines. So you start to see the huge pros and cons of each development platform, and you start to really understand and appreciate the things that that iOS does well. So hopefully you can. All right, so maybe February I'll put out an Android tutorial on a separate website. As you guys know, or some of you guys know, I am also on the Ray Wenderlich website as a tutorial writer. So we're putting out tutorials on the Ray Wenderlich website. And once I put my next tutorial out, I'll let you guys know what it looks like and where to find that link. All right, so we have Kevin Belter saying that I would like to work together on a self-sizing collection view. Let me know when you have time. So the self-sizing collection view cell question is something that I've always kind of struggled with, and I've gotten the auto layout thing to work with collection view cells, but like your comment said in that video, it's so tricky and so unreliable at times that I also agree with you. I prefer not to use the auto layout or the auto sizing method. But we have the user Albin that he has a really good implementation of it, and I kind of like that too. So I have to go back, kind of have to go back and forth between calculating the size manually and also doing the auto sizing. Oh, it's very, very tricky. So Don Paul, bad education system everywhere we make a country of programming. Well, I wouldn't want to live in a country full of programmers, right? First of all, it'd be 90% male, so that wouldn't be a very interesting country. Unless you're into that, then that would be a fabulous place to live. All right, we have Mikita Olenek. I guess I'll call you Mike for short. Mikita. Hi from Ukraine. What are indicators for iOS devs to be called junior, middle, and senior? What should your skills stack be to become a senior? I guess I'll answer the last question here. So when you become a senior engineer, you really have a much, much better understanding of the entire stack of the software or technology that you're working on. So for example, if you're a junior, you mostly focus on like the front end, right? And you don't venture outside of the front end. The moment that you understand how the front end connects to the back end, and how the back end connects to the web, and how the in-between layers work alongside of the testing and the continuous integration side, once you understand how everything is put together, then you can call yourself a senior engineer. Otherwise, you'll be stuck in junior development land forever. So yeah, this is another topic of interest. A lot of my students inside of bootcamp, they were like, I don't want to learn how to use Firebase. I don't want to learn how to use the backend. But the one thing I keep telling them is that you can't avoid, if you want to progress as an engineer and developer, you really need to understand how the backend works. All right. Hello from Turkey. Hey, I have a friend. So one of the senior engineers that I worked with is from Turkey, and he wanted to have me visit Istanbul with him. I think Istanbul. Yeah, maybe that. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to do that one day. So we have Omri. That's also another Turkish name, I believe. So Kuthe and Omri. Emre. Emre. Says, hi, Brian. I learned how to use Firebase because of you. Thanks for the videos. Well, thanks for watching. Really appreciate everyone that's here. So we have watching from Ukraine. Hello from Ukraine. Jean-Marc Mobama. Yeah, I guess the English. It's really difficult to pronounce some of these names, huh? All right, so what do you recommend for Swift beginners? I don't know. Watch my videos, buy my course. Okay, so moving on to the next question here. Something else I want to answer. I guess I'm not going to get into any coding today, unfortunately. What types of jobs and companies are the best to work for as a junior developer? So the answer that I kind of have for this question is try to find a company that has an interesting product that you might want to kind of work on. And one of the biggest mistakes in my development career is that I worked at a company that I didn't have a lot of passion for, or it's not that the company was boring or anything, but the product itself, I wasn't a user of that product. And what you'll find is that if you don't have any passion for that product, it's very difficult for you to sit down and build a feature that is really, really useful for that product. So, for example, if you like if you like videos, if you like how capturing video works, and if you like how you want to being able to tell a story through videos, you want to join a video company like Vimeo or YouTube or something. And if you like to do something with audio, Pandora, SoundCloud, Spotify, those companies are kind of the better direction that you should head towards. Okay, so I guess that's kind of common sense, but don't. So when you're applying for jobs straight out of college, what you tend to do is to just apply to everything on the board, and it's difficult to pass up on the jobs that you get an offer in, and that's kind of the trap that I fell into. You get a really good offer, but then the company is really, really boring in terms of the thing that they make. So if I had to choose between a really, really high paying offer, let's say 100K, right? This company was paying me 100K to build out some really, really boring tool. And then I had another offer that paid me like 80,000 to work for like maybe Netflix with all these cool video technology and building out a really, really cool UI layer for interfacing with the videos of Netflix. I would work for Netflix just in a heartbeat. I would not want to work for a higher paying, more boring job. That, there's a phrase that we kind of say called like soul draining, or the job sucks the soul out of you. And I felt that way for a couple of years actually in this engineering company. Kind of felt my soul escaping me as I was working on a product that I didn't want to work on. It was hard to wake up every day, try to convince yourself that, oh yeah, it's going to get better in the next year because I'm going to get this salary bump, I'm going to get this promotion, and then eventually I will be able to leave the job because I will have X amount of years of experience now. And then so that's kind of what I did for a long, long time. It wasn't worth it. Definitely was not worth it. All right, so we have, what do you recommend for Swift beginners? That's a good question. Again, visit the website and purchase the course. That's what I recommend. Um, and obviously, watch the videos on this channel here. They're all free. And, the idea behind the website is to build cool apps and, stop building those silly, silly calculator apps. All right, so we have, oh, okay, we have this Chinese name here. 尾之上亿. Is that Japanese? I think that's Japanese. Do you think reactive Swift is mainstream? No, I do not think reactive Swift is mainstream. How do I get a remote job? Well, it's kind of up to you. Getting a remote job is a little difficult, I think, but being an iOS developer definitely helps. All right. Do you think iOS developer is a better path in a couple of years because I'm studying C#, C++, and also in school college here? Don't really know which one should I focus on. So focus on all of them. I don't really have a better answer to that one. Yeah. So my thoughts on trying to pick a specific focus is to not pick a focus and just try to do it all, and then eventually it'll come to you which one you want to do most. Firebase is really cool. Yes, it is. A little difficult to build a custom server though, but Firebase is, yeah, it's a really cool piece of tech. All right. Swift tutorial conference. I know the Ray DevCon, is that what they call it? The Ray Wenderlich conference is coming up in March, April. So I'm not going to be there. I am part of the Ray Wenderlich team, and they give out a discount on the team members to attend those conferences. And maybe I'll be there next year. And if you guys want to know more about the Ray Wenderlich conference, I believe it's somewhere in like Virginia this year, or Utah or something. And it should be worthwhile. I won't be there this year, but maybe I'll be there next year. Or maybe I'll hold my own conference. How about that? All right. So moving on to the next question here, we have, are boot camps worth the time and financial investment? And what if you don't have sort of a tech savvy background that indicates you're a good developer? So let me just read out the answer here. It says, so chances are if you're not really technical and you don't like working with computers, you're not going to be a very good developer. If you struggle with things such as emptying out your browser's cache history, or if you struggle with installing particular software onto your computer, whether it be Windows or Mac, and then you give up before you can get the complete task finished, you're going to be fighting the development or developers kind of mentality and the mindset that a developer should have. So a lot of you guys don't know this, but most of engineering work just involves you banging your head against the wall to try to figure out how to fix a problem that there's really no solution to. You Google as much as you can, and you can't find the solution. So you go back to the system that you're working on, and you try like 100 different things until it works. If you don't have the patience, or if you don't have the mindset of, okay, I'm just going to keep trying until something works. If you don't have that mindset, you're going to struggle in engineering, and that's kind of the hard truth of it. It's hard to avoid the fact that engineering is a struggle. It's a lot of fun once you get things to work, and if you have really, really strong intuition on how a computer works, then you're going to be really successful as a programmer. Hopefully that is helpful. I would give $20 for Android too. I'm willing to donate. Well, so as you guys know from the previous video, there's really no donation thing on the YouTube channel because I don't take donations, or I don't want to take donations because I feel if I can provide you guys a service on my website, such as the training course, then you guys will get something for your money. I don't want to take your guys' money and you know not give anything in return. I feel like that's not something I want to do. I definitely want you guys to feel like you're getting value out of your money. Yeah, so cue the music, right? The cheesy music. Okay, what level of understanding of algorithms and data structures do you really need to have a junior position? All right, question coming from Luis Ramirez. Algorithms and data structures. For those of you guys that don't know what data structures are, basically, let's say you are trying to build out a piece of traffic software. You have to understand how to model out the entire simulation. So you need to know how to model out a car object, a road object, a traffic sign, or a stoplight object, and then what kind of objects inside of these classes do you need to make the entire simulation work. If you don't know how to construct, or if you don't know how to deconstruct a problem into smaller parts, it's going to be hard for you to pass a job interview. So definitely helps you know how data structures work. Algorithms itself is so painfully pointless, but so crucial to you passing your interview that it's something that I don't really like talking about anymore. Algorithms, yeah, it's a bitch. Let me just put it that way. So Tybalt says, is there any way to develop on both platforms like Android and iOS? Yeah, I mean, if you use Xamarin, or if you use React Native from Facebook, then yeah, you can build out applications for both platforms using one code base. Okay, Mean Bean says, I'm a developer and I agree. You definitely need to be interested in what you're doing. Yeah. Like trying to be something that you're not, or trying to be something that you don't want to be good at, is one way to be really miserable in life. For example, if you are trying to, be some kind of mechanical engineer, or you're trying to or you're trying to build a bridge, you have to really, really want to build a bridge if you want to go into the bridge building business. Otherwise, your bridge is going to fail and you're going to kill a ton of people. So try not to go into something that you don't enjoy. It doesn't do you any good. It doesn't do society any good. All right. Balaji Galav says that I would like to have tutorials on basic frameworks in iOS like core graphics, core animation, etc. Would you be able to provide them in the future? I don't know if I would be able to do tutorials like that on basic frameworks. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. The thing that really interests me in making these tutorials is to go from scratch and then building something that's, more or less useful and something that you can show your friends, like, okay, I wrote this. Trying to separate, yeah, I think I can actually do core graphics and core animation. Those are really interesting topics as well. So maybe I'll show you guys my very first app. It uses core animation and core graphics to draw a pie chart and spin it around with animation. I probably don't want to show you guys the source code for that because of how incredibly bad it is. Okay, so we have another question here. Mohammed Demirci. How can you find a job in Silicon Valley? Well, first of all, you have to get to the Silicon Valley somehow. Yeah. There's a lot of companies that are hiring. If you're good, then you'll find the company. Okay, so we have another question here from Alberto Benet. Let's see. How many monitors do you use when you make your videos and when you just work? So I only have one monitor, and it's a 4K monitor, 40 inches 4K. And this means I have, again, four screens that are 1080p. So whenever I need to record a video, I just have an area sectioned off on the top right, and then I just record my 1080p screen. And then I have three other 1080p screens that kind of show what I need to do on the other sides. And some of you guys probably asked me this, but I don't have a script so much on these videos, except for the ones where I have this notebook here. This is the only type of scripting that I do. For those coding tutorials, it's just something that you have to understand how to build, and then once you kind of know how it works, I can just build it out in like 15 to 20 minutes. Will you save this video once you watch it later? Yeah, it's going to be available on the channel once it uploads, whenever that is, probably by the end of the stream here. What to do to get hired by Tesla? That's a good question. Be good at cars, I guess. Okay, so we have Oyeleki Okiki. You gave me real confidence to work. I saw you develop the Facebook app from scratch. When I saw it was something I could do, it changed my life. I didn't know all I had to do was try. That is a real fact right there. So one other thing that I want to accomplish with this YouTube channel is to let you guys in on what it really, really looks like to be a developer. And as you can see, it doesn't really take a whole lot. First, you just need to know how to code, and then you need to know how to try. So many times, people will fail to give it a shot and try to just get into it, and that has to do with like a lot of fear of not knowing how to do this specific thing. So once you can get over that hump of, okay, I'm gonna fail, and it's okay. I'm gonna fail like 10 times in a row before I get it right. And that's the mentality that I have in my head. I never think of failure as failure. The word failure doesn't really, I don't define the word failure as many people define it. Failure, or failure, the way I define it is, it's just a step closer to attaining success. So if you have to fail 10 times, those are just 10 small steps to getting to success. If you have that mentality, then failure doesn't really mean much. It's just a smaller step for you. Each little small step is just the learning process for you to get to wherever you want to be. That's as simple as it should be. I think society puts too much emphasis on the word failure as like it's some kind of horrible thing. You fail because it's life. Life is full of many, many steps to get you to where you need to be. I hope one day I can have my own TV show and teach everyone that little lesson in life. All right, so Jerome Chan says that, can you do a segment on unit testing and UI testing? To be honest, I haven't done UI testing at all. I've seen the Apple talk on it. It looks very interesting. Yeah, it looks very interesting. That's all I had to say. Unit testing, I really do not like unit testing because I don't think it's really a good way. Well, unit testing to test like your code is really, really nice to have, but the amount of time that you spend on unit testing, it's just it's so much of a grind to unit test every line of code. But then again, you kind of have to have it to make sense of your code, especially when a new guy joins your team, puts a new bit of code in your source code repository, and everything breaks. That's pretty difficult to deal with. All right, so from Ehab, Atman. I'm an electrical engineer. I've been doing that for 2 years, and I recently rediscovered my passion for coding. Do you think I can still pursue a career in software development? Have you come across similar? Yeah, I taught at a boot camp last year, and a lot of the people there were prior kind of engineering graduates, and they went into different fields for various reasons. And at that boot camp, they really uh, got back to what they really, really enjoyed in school, which is coding. And a lot of those students that graduated that boot camp ended up getting jobs as iOS developers. So it's actually not that hard. Once you get back into it, you're back into it, and then you'll realize how much your passion drives you towards getting a job, and then you'll get that job. It's just a process. Remember, everything is a process. You start from something, and then a year later you get to where you need to be. You can't sit here and say, okay, I should have done this, I should have done that. That's kind of a waste of time. But yeah. All right. So it's from Didarkham. Didarkham. It says, "Hey Brian, appreciate on what you are doing. Really love your way of teaching and talking and thinking as well." Yeah, hopefully my way of coding will kind of be a mentor for you guys in terms of learning how to do things a little bit more efficiently. Uh, the thinking process is something that, you know, hopefully is a little bit more unique to the channel. I know a lot of, I don't think there is a lot of, or yeah, there aren't a lot of channels out there on YouTube that share so much on coding and how to build things nicely and, what to expect as an engineer. So hopefully this channel will fill that gap. I know a lot of people are, especially, 10 years ago when I graduated college, if I had a mentor or some kind of guide to tell me, okay, here's this field here, here's how you here's how you be good in that field, and here's how much money you would make in the future, it would have been really, really helpful. Okay. So we have questions about GCD and its operation is also good. Why Apple make a lot of security on Swift? I have difficult to make uploads sound in Swift. Yeah, security, it's actually not that bad. What are your thoughts on MVC, MVM, and Viper? MVC is typically the most you will need as an iOS developer. And then you'll probably join some company that likes to use MVVM. And then Viper is like this strange thing that I recently heard about. It was not strange, but I don't know. I don't like these acronyms: MVC, MVVM, React, Viper. Uh, the acronyms make it sound like it's some kind of newly invented pattern, but it's not. Okay, how can I build an iOS portfolio? Where should I search for smaller freelancing jobs? That's a good question. Well, you can just watch my videos and build out your portfolio that way. Obviously, try to do something a little bit more unique and not just build out what I'm teaching. That'd be pretty boring if everyone had that as their portfolios. Sometimes collection view class does not fire setup views. How can I debug that issue? Well, if you're not using that class correctly, then it won't fire setup views. So here's another good question from Simon Sardoff. What do you do when your motivation is down? Do you know any way to get a motivation boost? So this is something that I've been kind of fighting with the YouTube channel and trying to do like 10 different things at once. When motivation is down for me, I notice it's because I'm focusing all my attention on too many things. And when that happens to me, I tend to kind of just want to give up and not do anything, because I feel like if I get this one thing done, I have 10 other things to do. And then when I flip it around and I just think about just doing one thing really well, then I can get that thing done. And once I get that thing done, I have the motivation to move on to the next task. But having said that, sometimes it is hard to record these videos actually. So some of you guys might have noticed, but the channel has a little bit more content on engineering and where you should be as an engineer. And those videos are something that I've been wanting to make for a long time, but speaking in front of a camera is kind of difficult, and trying to come up with material that is interesting is difficult too. But hopefully you guys find that stuff helpful. It is a little bit easier to record separate content. So you have the tutorials, and then you have some more like life advice videos. You know, some of you guys probably don't like them, but I don't really know what to say to that. All right, so we have vlog snaps. I guess I'll read your question here. Vlog snaps. Any tips on how to get started with understanding and building your own backend? Well, first you have to have some kind of front end that needs to interface with the back end. And then whatever you want your front end to show, your back end needs to push to the front end. And then once you understand that, you pick a specific server-side technology, and then you build it out. I would say just to try to build something out with Node.js. It's really easy to learn, and it's free, and a lot of good resources out there. Okay, so last question here on the little similarity guy. The question is, what should I know about engineering that no one tells you in college and real life? This question here. So I kind of went over this a little bit earlier, but being a developer, being a programmer in Silicon Valley at least, requires you to program at least 8, 10, 12 hours a day. Your job might start at 9 o'clock in the morning, but it will often end at around 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. And then when you go home, you're still constantly thinking about that problem that you're trying to solve at the job. If you're not into programming 8 hours a day, if you're not into banging your head against the wall trying to fix one single problem, then you're not going to enjoy programming. One thing that I kind of felt in the past is when you feel like you're dead weight to the company and dead weight to the team, you're kind of not going to succeed in that career, in that field. So yeah, engineering is hard. If you want to be a good engineer, you have to learn so many different technologies. You have to constantly improve upon what you know already, and then you have to look at what else is there in the kind of in the job market that is in demand. If you just stick to one certain language, let's say, okay, I know .NET, I know C#, I'm just going to work for the rest of my life as a C# developer. Having that mentality it'll get you pretty far, but it won't catapult you up to being an architect or something. Well, maybe it will, but I don't think learning one thing for your entire life is a useful way to become a good engineer. Okay. Okay. All right, wow, we still have 74 people in the channel. That's quite a few people, huh? Oh, God. Do you prefer to work for a company you have a passion for, or start your dream company? From Tamed Craziness. Until you've worked at a company, you probably don't have the skill set to start your own company. Like if you're trying to be Mark Zuckerberg and try to just start some cool piece of tech, you most likely will not succeed. And the thing that you guys probably won't understand if you're just a college student right now is that a company needs to generate revenue, generate money somehow. If you think that just having a cool piece of tech is what makes the company, you're really mistaken. What's the bottom line at a company is that you need some piece of technology, and that piece of tech needs to generate money somehow. So you have to think from a business standpoint how your technology will be kind of financially stable in the long run. Yeah. All right, so last question here before I kind of go here. Any recommendations on those completed a coding boot camp when looking for jobs? So yeah, that's a good question. If you just recently graduated a boot camp, you have to continuously develop your own applications. You have to be learning on the side. The moment you so this is what happens to a lot of boot camp graduates is that the end of the 12th week they publish their apps onto the App Store and then they kind of they give up on everything. They don't give up, but they let their iOS development skills kind of stagnate, and they don't further develop their knowledge base inside of iOS development. So what happens is you need to continuously build out more apps. Okay, and finally, Kenneth Smith we have here. Thanks for your time. I've learned so much watching all of your videos. I'd sit here for a long time listening to a wise developer like you. Well, thank you everyone today for watching. I'm going to close the live stream in just a few minutes. And hopefully you guys will join in for the next live stream whenever that is. Perhaps if you guys watch the next couple of videos on the YouTube channel, if you guys have anything useful that you want to have answered on the live stream, go ahead and leave a comment on any of those videos, and I'll try to make a more interesting live stream next time, and perhaps I'll actually do some live coding and show you guys how my thought processes are in terms of live coding. So yeah, next video will be Monday. We have another episode on Twitter, and we're going to build out the navigation bar at the very top there. For those of you guys that want to get a sneak peek on the next app, hopefully I can pull it out here. Do you guys want to see a demo on the next application? Where's my phone? Let's see. What can I do here? Let's see. Let me see, I'm trying to pull up the simulator here. Will this work? Okay, are you guys excited? Okay, so I'm compiling a application here on my Xcode editor. Hopefully it'll compile correctly. Things are looking good. And then once it's up, the simulator should show you what the application is. All right. So that's what the app looks like. I think because my download speeds due to the live streaming, it's pretty slow. What can I do here? I wonder where my phone is. Okay, so can some of you guys tell what this app is right here? Spotify. I'm gonna get my phone and try to demo it on my phone. Oh, actually, there it goes. So this app right here is the Spotify app, right? Let me just bring this up here. And you see how we have horizontal scrolling like that. And then we also have vertical scrolling like this. And then we have the nav bar that does this little bit of blurring. And then we have this right here. And also if you click into, I think this guy, you get the application that looks like that. Scroll up, you get the bar to be hidden, and then the rest of the collection view has all of these tracks inside of the playlist. And so all of this is built using the LPTA components, which makes it really easy to lay out things horizontally like that. And yeah, so someday I'll be able to show this to you guys either here or probably, I don't know, a course on my website or something. I haven't really decided how to do this. What I really want to do as well is to play audio whenever I select on one of these tracks. So if you guys are looking for a guide on how to play audio, this will be that course eventually. If you guys want to donate me $1,000 a person, I can show you guys how to do this tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream and join me for the next screencast. All right.